So we're all getting pretty comfortable with AI assistants and agents, right? But what happens when you have too many of them? When your digital workspace is just crowded and none of them are talking to each other? Well, that's what we're digging into today. The solution to that chaos, the AI conductor. This is the next big step in AI teamwork. Okay, to really get where we're going, we have to start with two ideas you probably already know. Just think of it like this. AI assistants are do-it-yourself, or DIY. You're the one in charge. On the other hand, AI agents, well, they're do-it-for-you, or DIFY. And that simple difference, DIY versus DIFY, is the key to everything else we're going to talk about. Right, so let's start with the AI that's familiar to all of us, because understanding that huge jump from a pretty passive assistant to a much more proactive agent is what makes the whole idea of an AI conductor click into place. First up, AI assistants. These are the tools that are basically waiting for your command. You give them a prompt, they do the thing. It's simple, it's powerful, but they are totally reactive. They're not going to do anything until you tell them exactly what you need. But then you have AI agents, and this is where things get really interesting. These are the true do-it-for-you systems. They're autonomous, they can make their own decisions, start up workflows, and even pull in data from other places, all without you having to constantly look over their shoulder. So here's the catch. As companies and teams start using more and more of these amazing specialized agents, a new problem starts to bubble up. You end up with this fragmented AI ecosystem where nothing really connects. And that leads to a pretty logical question, right? If you've got all these agents, and they're each fantastic at their one specific job, one for billing, one for research, what could possibly be the problem? This image just lays it all out perfectly. Over on the left, you see the problem. We've got our DIY assistants and our DIY agents, but as you get more and more of them, you create what's called a fragmented AI ecosystem. Basically, every tool is stuck in its own little world, its own silo, and trying to get them to work together is just a complete mess. And let's be real about why that is. These tools are often built by totally different companies, running on different systems. Some might be on the cloud, others are running locally. So trying to coordinate all that and make sure everything is secure and compliant, it becomes a massive headache really fast. So how in the world do you fix this mess? Well, this is where our hero of the story comes in, the AI conductor, or if you want to get technical, the orchestrator agent. Now, let's look back at that same diagram, but focus on the right side. The solution becomes so clear. That orchestrator agent is like a central intelligence, a supervisor for all the other AI tools. It takes your main goal, breaks it down into smaller pieces, and then sends each little task to the exact right agent for the job. It turns all that chaos into one smooth, unified process. You know, I just love this analogy because it makes so much sense. The orchestrator is like a really good manager. It doesn't try to do everything itself, no way. Instead, it knows the strengths of its team and makes sure everyone is working together to get the big project done right. Okay, so the idea sounds great, but how does it actually work in practice? Well, you might be surprised. It really comes down to 3 key steps to get your whole AI team playing in perfect harmony. It all boils down to this 3-step process. First, you have to define the entire workflow, from the very beginning to the very end. Second, you set up the API integrations. That's just the technical way of saying you let the agents talk to each other and get the data they need. And finally, you put the orchestration technology in place to manage the whole thing. Once you have that framework, the AI conductor can finally take the stage. So why would you go through all that? What's the payoff? Well, as you're about to see, the benefits of getting your AI to actually work as a team, they're not just small improvements, they're absolute game changers. First and foremost, you get a massive boost in efficiency. You can automate these really complex jobs that need a bunch of different AI skills. So you're not just doing things faster, you're doing them way, way smarter. It's that whole do-it-for-you idea, but scaled up to a whole new level. Next up is a much better experience for everyone. When you break down those silos and get the tools working together, the end result is just so much more powerful and easy to use. All those amazing specialized skills you have are now part of one single coordinated flow.
And finally, this whole approach gives you incredible scalability. It means that as your company grows and your needs change, you can just plug new specialized agents into the system. The orchestrator makes sure every new tool adds to your overall power instead of just adding more complexity.
So if you take away one thing, let it be this. Orchestration isn't about buying yet another tool. It's a whole strategy for making every AI tool you have work together like a well-oiled machine. It cuts down the complexity and squeezes every last drop of value out of your investments. And of course, what we've talked about today, this idea of orchestration, it's just one fascinating piece of a much, much bigger AI puzzle. There's a whole world out there. From the basics of machine learning to deep strategies for building agentic products, there's always more to explore. So if you want to really master these kinds of strategies and stay on top of the latest in AI and product leadership, you should definitely check out the AI Product Management Playbook. Just subscribe on LinkedIn and you'll join a whole network of leaders in the space. Thanks so much for tuning in.